Good day, everybody. What is this? Is it a Madonna bra? It's pointy enough. No, it's a pickle helm. Ooh, fancy, leather, old, smelly, but original. You can see the markings here. Unfortunately, I haven't done any research into what the markings mean, but the leather is pretty good. It is missing some parts, the front eagle. It's also missing the studs on the top. It's got a few interesting but problem areas as well. So I'm not going to try to repair any of these. I'm just going to try to preserve them, and I'll show you the technique I use for that. It may not be museum quality, but I'm not a museum, and I don't believe it's doing much, if any, damage what I'm going to show you. So the parts availability on things is actually quite good. It's the leather that wears out. So like any project, you want to disassemble as much as possible without causing any permanent damage or marks. In this case, it's pretty much split pins everywhere, and they're not that hard to remove, so that's what I'm going to do. Got a couple pair of pliers. That there is a completely flat, like a jeweler's pair, so there's no teeth or anything on it to mar surfaces or dent them. It's unfortunate. You do have to use some force, but a gentle touch is really important in doing something like this, because the leather itself is very much like cardboard, I guess you'd say. It's like fibrous material. So there you go. The two pins are now bent straight, and the pickle has come off. Pickle means spike in German, in case anybody was wondering. The reinforcing plate, and now the top is clear. I'm not going to remove the liner. That's not possible. I'm going to attempt to remove those little adapters there for the chin strap. Sorry about the bad view, guys, but you're not missing much. Oh, my mistake. Actually, I'm actually working on the vent spine on the back. It's kind of funny, they call it a vent, but I can tell you one thing. When that thing comes off, the helmet is a lot weaker without that spine. So I believe the spine is really reinforcement. It's not to have anything to do with that tiny little... It is a vent. I'll show you a closer view of what and how the vent works when I get the spine off. So nuts, bolts, things like that, pins. Anytime you have to bend something, it's a little bit scary. Obviously, when you unscrew something, it pretty much is going to go back together. So pick and choose. If you think the metal looks too brittle, or if you can see cracks where it's already been bent, don't touch it. Leave it alone. I'll show you how to put the preservative spray on without having to remove materials, because you can't remove everything off this helmet. So here comes the scary part. I got to bend this thing. Who thinks it's going to break? You think I'm going to break it? Am I going to break it? Nope, I didn't break it. Comes right off. And now I'm left with a disgusting spider web. I don't like spiders. And anybody who says they like spiders are lying. They just want to seem tough. So there's the spine. The lighter spots in there are actually solder, not spider webs. And that little thing there where my finger's moving is the vent. I can't imagine how that would ventilate anything. It's kind of a joke. I don't know. So now I want to spray this thing, like I said, to preserve it. And basically locking in all the loose pieces so they don't flake off. And I don't want to get any spray on parts that are supposed to be flat, like the metal or the little bit of the liner. There's the spray, Phoebing's Leather Sheen. Please do not buy from Tandy. Tandy is a horrible company towards anybody with disabilities or skin color that's not white. So I'm going to be taping off the metal that goes around the brim, taping off the chin strap post. I didn't remove the chin strap post because I cut it. You guys didn't see me struggling, but it wasn't going to come off. So here's some fast forward of me playing with tape. This is the green masking tape you can get absolutely anywhere for painting. It's the best to use for something like this because it's not going to leave any sticky residue behind, and it's not going to stick hard enough to do much damage. Whenever you apply tape to a porous surface, you're going to do a minor amount of damage, but sometimes that's the price you pay for trying to save the whole. You lose a part. So just carefully working it around. It's not hard work. It's really not time consuming. It's just kind of boring to watch. It is what it is. If any of you guys have done model building, it's the exact same technique you would use for masking off parts of a model that you want to do a camouflage paint on. So here I'm taping up the little bit of the liner that's showing through that should remain matte. The sheen I'm using is exactly that, has a little bit of sheen. This part looks scary, but all I'm doing is just pushing the tape back with the edge of the blade. The blade's not even touching the helmet. It's just pushing the tape around. And now it's masked, ready for spray. So it's off drying, and now I have to figure out what I want to do to replace the pins. So I went out and I bought a package of these, I think they call them brads. I call them split pins. They're solid brass. I think it's $10 for the entire box, and they're great for making projects with kids later. There's a replacement eagle. This is a replica from Pakistan. I ordered off eBay. They're about $17, $15, so they're not expensive. But what I want to do is be able to match that finish of that pickle, which is also brass, but after 100+ years of aging, it's turned quite dark. So how do I replicate that? Well, first I'm going to modify the pins so they sit flat. Right there, you saw that little triangle shape disappear up into the head. So now when I put it on the helmet, you're not going to have it, the brad standing high. Okay, there's number 2. See? No effort at all. Now the aging time. I'm going to pull out a special chemical here. Probably should have edited this better. The chemical I'm using is Instablue. Now, every Instablue is a little bit different. This one, I don't remember where I got it from. I might have gotten it from Canadian Tire. I might have picked it up somewhere in Cabela's in the States or something like that. I don't remember where. But chances are you'll have more than one. I can't say whether or not the Instablue in the blue bottles work because I haven't tried that. But I do know from previous experience, this bluing chemical does work. You'll see, just swish it around and instantly starts to oxidize the metal. It's not putting paint on there, it's actually doing a chemical reaction, which is always a nice thing to do. That's the other thing too. If the blue you have doesn't work, just go to the train store. We'll have it because you need it for, bluing chains. Alright guys, so now I'm applying the same bluing chemical but with a brush. I'm going to shut up and let you watch this because it's actually kind of cool to watch in fast motion without me talking. Decided it needs a second coat. Just taking off the excess chemical. There's no neutralizing required for something like that. It's not an acid, so it's not going to do any damage. All right, back to the helmet. You can see it's got a bit of a shine, nothing much. The idea was I don't want it to look much different than it did before I started preserving it. That's the idea of preservation, which is you're not altering the piece. ideally, or if you are, it's not a permanent alteration. You can see right there I was talking about the tape's good, but it did take off a little bit of leather. It's that one part you just can't avoid. I mean, I suppose you could be more careful and take a piece of paper and clip it on there with some bobby pins or something like that. But in this case, I thought it was an acceptable risk. So now I'm going to reassemble everything with all the parts I've had blued and gotten ready. Installation is no different. It's the same as disassembly, just in reverse with the few extra parts. So the first pins I'm going to use are the original pins. Washer goes on. That's the part that sucks. Everybody's going to make a mistake at some point and put the pins back in and forget to put something like the washer on. If you haven't done that on a project, then you haven't done enough projects. Not specifically that, guys. You know that. I mean, screwing up. Everybody screws up, no matter how good you are. Just hopefully you don't screw up permanently, and when it comes to working on fires, hope you don't screw up to kill somebody. Yeah, so you see me struggling here. That brass is hard. I mean, I don't know the alloy mix, but it's not like the split pins, and it's not particularly thick. It's just a hard brass. So spreading out the pin in the washer for the vent. Sorry, guys. Blank there. I'm watching my own videos, blanking out watching it, so I guess hopefully it's interesting if I still find it interesting. So what I've done to protect and knock some of the shine off of the brass there is this dull coat. It doesn't matter the brand. You can go to a hobby store and find it where I got this stuff. You can find a clear varnish at Home Depot, and there's the finished project, guys. It's not finished as in I'm happy with it. It's finished as in what I can afford to do to it. I can't afford $80 for a new eagle and another $50 for the pins, so I'm going to leave it with what I got and stare at a video that I thought I'd edited that I'm going to have to cut down. Thank you, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.